I know many of you are. They're assisting cards. They have a yes and a no side. Flip it over at any point during class. Yes means you do not mind having hands-on assists. No means you prefer to work on your own in that time. So feel free to flip it at any point. Now, 2 things coming up. Got to remember these. On the 23rd, which is soon, 23rd of this month, is our Move Free Week. So it's a week to invite any friends, office workers, family to a week of free yoga. There's a whole program for them that week. It's a week to bring a friend. Just use the QR code that's online or on the center of these bingo challenge cards if you've got your bingo card for this month. They're on the walls, they're out by the cubbies, in the bathrooms. And then last, the weekend of December 1st through 4th is our retreat to the Himalayan Institute. It's about a 3-hour drive north. It's a Thursday evening to a Sunday afternoon. Himalayan Institute is a more classical approach to yoga, so we'll get to learn a little bit from them. I'll teach our yoga classes. They make amazing food. It's not just for people in the studio. If you have a friend or family member far off that you'd like to have join you on that retreat, it's very common that when we take retreats, we always meet some people from outside of our immediate community. So any questions about the Move Free Week or the Himalayan Institute retreat, I'm happy to answer those with you one-on-one after class. Let's get down to business. Get here to what we came here for. Child's pose is how we begin. So on your shins, knees open wide, toes together. Settle your hips back toward your heels. Bring your arms forward and bring your forehead then down to your mat. And if this doesn't feel good, maybe fold your arms and put your forehead on your forearms. So the first thing you would do in any pose is just take an inner listening for, does a pose feel good? Doesn't mean it would be really comfortable per se, or you wouldn't be experiencing some challenge in it. You're just looking for, does it feel good? And what that means will evolve over time with your practice. Now, there's one thing we focus on the whole way through the class, because our style of yoga, though physical, is just a breathing exercise. We focus on breath. So right here, take a deep breath in and feel your lungs filling up and expanding your rib cage all of the way around your body. And then exhale slow, steady, and completely. Even if you've practiced 1,000 times, you've never taken this breath. So take a deep breath in and steady exhale. Keep going like that. Now we use a style of breathing called an Ujjayi breath, a breath of fire. So allow the back of your throat to constrict a little bit so there's a volume to your breathing. You can really feel it in your body. You can hear your neighbor. As you're breathing, the quality of your breath is that there's 3-4 counts to inhale and then pause, and steady 3 or 4 counts to exhale and pause. Couple more breaths. See to it that the quality of the 3rd or 4th count is just as rich as the first count. Then we'll just match movement to breathing. On your next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog. So the shape of an upside down letter V. When you start creating this pose, put attention on your foundation, your hands and feet. Set your hands wide and your feet back, a long stance. You might need to soften your knees so you can drag your hips up and back away from your hands. That's it. You can spread your fingers out wide and let every fingertip press to the mat. That's it. Let your head hang down and your gaze settle at the back center of your mat, and keep your breath flowing. Feel how it is in your body right now. Could it be more stable? Then go a little longer and a little wider. Listen for how the breath is in your body, and listen for how it is in the room around you. Imagine how it is for those practicing at home, and from you at home here to us in the room. Take one more breath, then look to the front of your mat and walk up to the front of your mat. Once you get to the front, line your feet up to be parallel and hip width distance, and then just let your upper body hang. This is called ragdoll. So if you could imagine from the side, your body's like an upside down letter U. Fold arms if you'd like to. But as you're standing here, put your eyes and your attention on your feet. Set your feet pretty wide. If they were hands on a clock, have them be that they're facing 12 o'clock. And then breathe as you feel how it is in your own body. Invite a warm opening from your heels, up the backs of your legs, across the back of your pelvis. through your spine and neck into the crown of your head. Then put your hands on your thighs. Lift up halfway so your back is long and flat. Breathe here for a breath or two, where you're working to press your hips to the back of your space, your chest and crown of head to the front of your space. Breathe and just push your feet into the mat. Let them sink deep down into the mat. Feet so strong against the mat that you can start to feel the muscles in your hips waking up and warming up. Knees as bent as they need to be, better bent than forced into a locked position. Take another breath. Now drape your belly down your thighs. Let them touch. Maybe you need really bent knees and hang all the way down into a forward fold. Breathe here. You got it. Your hands can be on a block if your lower back is feeling stressed by this forward fold. Wherever you are, just let your neck be long. That's it. Really bring the breathing. Consider that as you inhale, you bring in a new powerfulness, a new strength. As you exhale, you have this opportunity to let go. And that can mean so many different things. Let go physically. Let go of whatever's taking your thoughts away from this moment. Let go of how your practice should be. And come into how it is. Good morning. So the more you've been in a pose and the more maybe parts of your body are trembling, the more you'll need your breath. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Steady exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Steady exhale. Last one. Breathe in. Now as you exhale, press your feet down into the ground, hands on your thighs, long flat back, unhinge, come up to standing. Once you're standing tall, sweep your arms overhead, reach for the ceiling or the sky, and then hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. Set your gaze on one point, one still point in the space in front of you. And set an intention for the practice. So in your mind, that sounds like I am, and you fill in the blank with a word that has a kind and loving quality. And maybe it would be something like, I'm present, I'm powerful, I am whatever. Then 3 times we'll chant Om together to create a clearing. Om has 3 parts to it. A deep ah down in your belly, oh up in your chest, and in the crown of your head. Take a deep breath in. Inhale and reach up. Fold all the way down to the floor as you exhale. When you inhale, lift up halfway, make a long flat back and set your eyes on one spot. Then keep them there. High plank position, keep your eyes on the spot. Low plank position. Inhale, press your arms straight, lift your chest, look to the ceiling. Exhale, move to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and a long, steady breath out. 2 more. Take a deep breath in. Long, steady breath out. Come on in, Themi. 1 more time, breathe in. As you exhale, bend your knees and look forward. Step or jump up toward your hands. Then inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Press your feet into the ground. Stand up. This is called extended mountain pose. Reach up and fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway. Set your gaze under your eyes and forward. Then high plank to low plank as you exhale. Inhale, look to the ceiling, straighten your arms. Exhale, downward facing dog. Work together with your breathing. Inhale and exhale. Got 1 more here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and jump up to your hands. Lift up halfway and forward fold. Inhale, stand, extended mountain pose. You reach for the sky. Fold to the floor and steady, empty your breath. Inhale, lift halfway, set your gaze. High plank to low plank position. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Fill your breath. Control the emptying. 2 more. Breathe in. Deep breath out. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Jump up to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Extended mountain pose. Breathe in. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift halfway. Step or drop into the low push-up. Upward facing dog. Roll over your toes and lift. Downward facing dog. Now, while you're here and breathing, put your attention again on your foundation for how it is right now. Wherever you are, spread your fingers, all 10 of them wide, and squeeze the mat with the tips of your fingers. Take another breath in, squeeze the mat. When you exhale, bend your knees, jump up to your hands. Nice, Greg. Halfway lift. That's it, Becky. Forward fold. Inhale, stand. Even higher this time. Maybe go back. Fold to the floor and empty. Inhale, lift halfway. Step or drop right into the lowest part of the push-up. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now stretch out. So you've got your hands, spread your fingers, squeeze your fingertips, and put some length between your hands and your fingers. With soft knees, reach your hips up and away from your hands. We'll take 1 more full breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump up to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold. 1 more round. Sun salutation A. Stand up. Extended mountain pose. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Drop to the low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Work with the breathing in the space. Might be a little faster or a little slower than you feel like doing, but we're working to create something new. That means you have to do something differently. Finish this last breath that you're on and look forward, and then jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Moving on, chair pose. Sit back into your heels, stay right here and breathe. You might want to take a quick look at your feet. For some of us, when we do chair pose, our toes turn out. Keep them parallel to one another and sit way back into your heels so your toes get a little light. That the reach of your arms and fingers are necessary to keep you from falling backwards. Then take another breath in, stretch into your fingertips, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop to the low plank. Upward facing dog, lift your chest, straighten your arms, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, back foot flat and lunge. Warrior 1, let's hold this for a few breaths. Set your gaze on one point, and then without changing where your eyes are looking, put some attention on your feet. Really lunge down into your front foot. And without even looking, press all 4 corners of your back foot into the mat. That'll really include the back edge of your back foot pinning itself down to your mat. And then for the last breath, lunge until your thigh is parallel to the floor and reach up. Hands to the floor, low push-up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left side, step and lunge. Warrior 1, arms overhead. Steady breathing. Keep your breath flowing. Now draw your left thigh into the center line and hug it back into your hip. You got it there, Greg. Press the back edge of your back foot down and keep your breath flowing. If you can, lunge until your thighs parallel to the floor. That's it, Jesse. Good, Kelly. Deep breathing. Then lift up and reach up, look up and back. Hands to the floor for the low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe here. Get your breath, your foundation, your hands, feet, and core. And then your drishti, or where you're putting your eyes, your attention. Now we'll get ready to flow here. Take 1 more breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Just 1 breath per pose. Chair pose, breathe in and reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, low plank, just drop right down. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, step your right foot forward and lunge. Warrior 1, reach up, look up. Hands to the floor, low push-up. It'll feel a little fast at first. You're getting it. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now step the left foot forward and lunge. Inhale, look up, reach up. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. It's a little messy when we first get flowing. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now, anytime you want to, you can modify the practice. You can adapt it to how it is for you and your body today, either intensifying or modifying down for how your body is feeling that day. Always challenge yourself and be right on the edge of your breath pattern. Here we go. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose. Sit, reach your arms up, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank position. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, step your right foot forward and lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up, hands to the floor, low push-up. Now, you can always just go to the downward dog and wait for the other side. When we're ready for the other side, left foot forward and lunge. Inhale, look up and reach. Hands to the floor, low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Now, the practice can seem a little fast in the sun salutations. What gives you enough space for all the moves is the 4 parts of your breathing. See if you still have it. And inhale, pause, exhale, pause. One more breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low push-up. Upward facing dog, straight arms. Downward facing dog, step your right foot forward and lunge, back foot flat. Arms go up, hands to the floor, low push-up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left foot forward and lunge. Inhale, lift up, reach up. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So we've got a pattern going. Breathe in and breathe out. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. Last time, breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees, jump to your hands. 1 more round. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, like you're sitting in a chair, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop to the low push-up. Up dog to down dog. Now right away, step your right foot forward and lunge. Inhale, look up, reach. Good. Hands to the floor, low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left foot, step forward and lunge. Inhale, reach up. Hands to the floor, low push-up. Up dog. Downward facing dog and rest. Now in this downward facing dog, you can always have your knees on the ground. Here in the downward facing dog, raise your right leg into the air behind you. Bend your knee, bring your heel to the hip and turn your hips open and breathe here. You got it. You let your head just hang down. Your hips reach up and back. That's it. And stretch, shoulders relax. Now, a little tricky. Keep your left hand on the mat. Flip over until your right foot lands on the ground behind you. That's it. You got it. 2 flat feet on the floor. Reach your right arm up in the air. There you go. That's it, Tyler. Breathe right there. Whole new world for your body. Keep on breathing. 1 more breath here. We'll take side plank. Bring your right hand back to the mat. Face the long left side of your mat and stack your body up. Now, you can step your top leg forward. Gives you a little bit of extra support. Or drop your bottom knee down for a lot of extra support. Feeling like you don't have enough action in the pose yet? Lift your top leg up. Feeling like you want a ton of core strength? Hug your bottom leg knee into your chest. 1 more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. We'll take the other side now. Raise your left leg into the air. Keep your breath flowing. Bend your knee, bring your heel to your hip. Flip it over till you got 2 feet on the floor. Reach in the air with your top arm. That's it. Now push your 2 feet and your one hand into the ground and lift up out of your bottom shoulder. There you go, Charlie. Relax, breathe easy. Side plank, left hand to the mat. Face the long right side of your mat and stack your body up. That's it. If you push your left hand into the mat and the edge of your left foot into the mat, you'll be able to lift your hips up high. You got it. Keep reaching, Caitlin. Steady breath. Now customize the pose in any way you find your body ready for. One more breath. High plank to low. Take your time here. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Stretch back. Step your right foot forward for crescent lunge. So the right leg comes forward and you lunge. Now you stay on the ball of your back foot. So instead of the flat warrior foot, on all 5 toe knuckles and lunge down. Try to lunge until your thighs parallel to the floor. You could modify this by putting your back knee to the ground. Wherever you are, reach for the ceiling and look up. That's it. Lunge deep, reach for the ceiling, and then go up and go back. That's it. Deep, deep lunge, up and back. Then hands to prayer position at the center of your chest and twist. Left elbow to your right knee. Your back leg, keep it alive and active on purpose, like your hamstrings pressing to the ceiling, or you could always put your knee on the ground. Wherever you are, knee or foot on the ground, that's the bottom point, the foundation. Reach it back. While your chest, the crown of your head, all that reaches forward. If you'd like, you can open your arms. The bottom arm reach for the ground, the top arm to the ceiling. 3 more breaths. That's it. Long side body. There you go, Sue. 1 more. Stay here as you exhale. Crescent lunge. Keep breathing. Look forward. Set your gaze. Turn to warrior 2. So you'll turn to the left now. Point your right foot and knee in the same direction. Your back foot can be angled in and then lunge down as far as you can. You can go wide with the stance. There you go. That's it. Deep, deep lunges. Lunge down so low your thighs parallel to the floor, but do that without pressing your left hip forward to the side of your mat. There you go, Greg. Get ready, stretch your arms apart and tilt. It's extended side angle. So fingertips to the block or floor and side of your front knee, top arm in the air. You're doing great. Good, deep, deep breathing. You may feel this quality in your inner thigh from the groin out to your inside knee of stretching long. Before we leave the pose, draw the pit of your belly into your body and lift it up toward your chin. 1 more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Let's do the left side. Step your left foot forward and lunge for crescent lunge. Get your front foot set. Get your gaze set. And focus on your steady breathing. Then use your felt sense. That's different from shifting your eyes around. That's feeling how it is in your body. Feel how it is first and foremost in your back foot. Press the knuckle of your pinky toe down into the mat. There you go, Candy. Fire up your back leg as you reach for the ceiling. Can you feel a connection from your back ankle, up your thigh, your pelvis, your right side body, to your chin and to your fingertips? Good. That's it, David. Deep lunge. Reach up and go back. You got it. Activate your back leg. It's the steering wheel to this whole back bend. Stretch up and back. Then hands to prayer position and twist. Put your right elbow on your left knee. Keep your breath flowing and steady. Lift up the right hip a little more, Themi. It's sinking down there. Welcome to open your arms. Reach for the floor. Reach for the ceiling. Now stretch long from your heel to the center of your chest. More pit of the belly. You've got it. Now breathe. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, twist. 2 more. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, twist. You've got 1 more. Get really long. And now twist. Crescent lunge. Set your gaze. Warrior 2. Open to the right. Steady breathing the whole way through. Feel how it is, or even look and check it out. Front foot and front knee point in the same direction. Go a little longer, David. I think you could. Yep. Lift the pit of your belly so you're long and tall and lean. Arms stretch. Tilt for extended side angle. Reach for the floor or your block right in front of your front leg. Reach for the ceiling. The arm reaching for the floor inside of your front knee can just keep encouraging your knee back so that your thigh bone's rolling open. Now try this out. Anchor the back edge of your back foot into the mat. Like really get a connection there. Feel it and breathe. And when you feel like your foot's almost sinking into the mat, maybe you'll also reach your bottom arm forward with your top arm. So from the edge of your back foot to the pinky fingers of your reaching bottom arm, stretch long. One more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Now, take a deep breath in, open up your mouth and sigh and just clear your space. One more time, breathe in, breathe out, and we'll get ready to move on this one. Inhale. As you exhale, look forward, step or jump to the front of your mat. Halfway lift and fold. Organize your feet so they're parallel and sit back into chair pose, hands at the center of your chest, and then twist. Left elbow to your right knee. You want to stay seated deep down in your legs as you make the twist. Think about your hips, your butt, reaching back for a chair that it just never quite finds. So that the sides of your ribs, the sides of your waist are getting as long as they will. Keep stretching them long. That's it. And breathe into your back left rib cage. 3 more breaths into your back left ribs. 2 more. Steady breath. You've got this last one. Really twist on the exhale. Then reach up to chair pose and forward fold. Feet open, hip width distance. Hook your big toes with your middle and index fingers. That's it, and stretch down. A wide stance would be very helpful here. You got it. And then look at your feet. See that they're lined up. Heels behind your middle toes. That's it. Press the center of each heel down into the mat. Press the mound of each big toe like it's knuckle. Yeah, down. Do you feel the difference in your hamstrings and lower back when you do that? You're feeling it everywhere. It's your first day. That's the way it is the first day. That's it. Let your spine hang long. Long neck, heavy head. Other side, release your toes, chair pose. So butt reaches back, like searching for a chair. Hands to prayer position, twist to the left now. Right elbow to your left knee. If you could imagine that there were hands pressing in the sides of your hips and dragging back a little bit, and you were in a tug of war, pulling your chest forward so you didn't fall back. Sit back and chest forward. You got it. Just keep pulling, especially your back right side forward. Each inhale, make your body long. Every exhale, twist. 3 more. That's it. 2 more. Can you feel it back there? Last one. Twist on your exhale. Chair pose. Forward fold. You might want to sway from side to side, and then we'll create gorilla pose. So if you can, slide your palms under your feet from the front and stand on your palms. And let your head hang down. You got it. So imagine this in your lower back, wide. Your hips in the back, your pelvis, as wide as they'll be. You can change all that. You can manage it all from the 4 corners of your feet. So you might discover the extra width in your lower back by just working with where you hold the weight in your feet. If you could imagine your feet like a box with 4 corners, all 4 corners working their way into the ground equally. Release your hands from beneath your feet. Use your handstand hands. So that would be fingers spread wide, middle or pointer finger pointing forward, and all the fingertips gripping the floor. Weight not just back in the palm of your hand, but more in the knuckles of your hand. So the fingers working. Set your handstand hands on the ground. We're doing crow pose. So a diamond shape with your legs. Squeeze the floor. Rest your elbows or your knees outside of your armpits. Soft elbows. Then tilt the weight forward toward your fingertips and squeeze. You might stay right here or try picking up 1 foot at a time, or pick up both of your feet and press into the floor so your body gets light and hollow. If you find from here it'll press into a handstand, that's always the next stage. Now in your crow poses, 3 more breaths. Inhale, press the floor, lift your core on your exhale. You have 2 more. Inhale, stay with it, exhale. Here's your last one. Keep looking forward, float to the low push-up. However that happens, it might be a belly flop. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and stretch out. Take 1 deep breath in, a full breath out, look forward, jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Take your time, hang, press your feet into the ground. 3 breaths, roll up to standing. Just keep lifting 1 bone of your spine at a time until you've unwound your neck and your shoulders. Look up, arms overhead. Set your gaze. Right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under your left. Twist your forearms. Squat down. Yeah. Right leg over your left. And breathe. Once you've got your arms and legs bound, squeeze them together. And then just drag your hips down low while you drag your neck, your head up high. Breathe. Bring more breath into the pose. Notice what changes when there's more breath. Step out, arms overhead, breathe in. Left side, left arm under. Squat, left leg over. See if your toes will tuck behind your calf muscle. So it's like you go into the chair pose and then cross your thigh. So it might just be that your foot sticks to the side. It might wrap around. Then back of your neck really long. Yeah, there you go. Breathe and fill the body with breath and empty it. Good job. Step out, arms overhead. We'll do the right side again. Right arm is the underneath arm now. Yep. Right leg is the leg that goes over. See if your toes might tuck. So take the chair pose and then see. Maybe your legs are more like the chair pose, but you're just going to rest your ankle and make your legs look more like a number 4. Yeah, bend your knee if you can, Laura. Yep. Then step out, arms overhead, last side. So second set, second side, left arm under. Squat. So you may notice that there's a stretching across the back of your pelvis with the wrapping of your legs and across the back of your shoulders. See if you can raise your elbows up to shoulder height and press your folded hands a little bit away from you. You'll feel the stretching across your shoulders and neck a little more. 1 more breath. Step out, arms overhead. Keep your eyes set on one spot. Hug your right knee into your chest. And keep your breath flowing. Then with your right hand, hold your right foot from the outside or hold your big toe. You could use a strap to hold around your foot as well if your foot just feels a little far away. But wherever you are, extend your knee and stand tall. It may not straighten, and that's fine. That's it. So you just make it your arms a little extra long with the strap. Now see if you can stand up tall. With your eyes on one spot, stand tall and just keep breathing. It'll mean that you relax your quad muscles a little bit, your hip flexors a little bit, and you'll feel that that leg that's straightening and lifted, it just sinks back into your body a little more. Open your leg out to the side, to the right. Reach to the left, maybe switch your gaze to the left. You can hold on to the knee, but one day the foot. Bring your leg forward, hug your knee into your chest, stand tall, and then get ready for airplane pose by first opening up, not just hanging forward, but open. And then stretch. Your kicking leg back like it's standing on the wall behind you. Your standing foot. Press your big toe into the ground. Now, this might be new to you, and you could just be upright with your toes resting on the ground rather than fully tilted forward for now. If you're used to this pose, press the knuckle of your standing big toe down into the mat while you breathe. Press the knuckle of your lifting leg in your imagination into the wall behind you and get steady. Keep breathing. Hands to prayer position at the center of your chest. Keep breathing. Half moon pose is next. Left fingertips on a block or the floor under your left shoulder. Keep the back leg active, and in your felt sense, know where your toes are. Then open to the side and reach to the ceiling with your right arm. You got it. Both feet active. Wiggle your toes and be aware of where your feet are. If you're standing in this pose and you want to go one step further, you can bend your top knee, catch your top ankle, stay with it. 3 more breaths, stay with it. You have this, reach. 2 more breaths, stay with it. Here's your last breath, forward fold and hang. Now feel how it is in your body. Grab your strap if you'll be using your strap on the other side. Hug your left knee into your chest. Now, it may not be all at once. Your foot goes from usually standing turned out to like 2 o'clock back to 12, but come to 1 o'clock as a change, if that's best for you, and hug your knee. Now, right now, as you're hugging your knee, your hips are level to the ground and level to the behind you. Extend your knee and keep them level. What does that mean, keep them level? Rather than leaning back and pushing your foot into your hand, stand tall. You may need to soften your standing knee a little more. Eyes steady, breath steady. Keep your eyes on that spot. Open your leg to the left, reach to the right, maybe switch your gaze to the right. Breathe here. Balance takes time to learn how to create and maintain. It's a steady drishti or focus that gives you balance. Come forward, hug your knee into your chest. Stand tall, then open up your chest, go for the airplane pose. So the right leg is down, left leg lifting. The more you can stay aware of where the knuckles of your big toes are, the easier you'll find balance. That's it. Maybe in the pose, if you can manage it, shrug your shoulders up to your ears and then move them to the back of your body toward the ceiling. Stay breathing and steady no matter what's going on around you. You be the calm face in the storm. Hands to prayer. Keep breathing. Half moon. Right hand to the block under your right shoulder. Left arm in the air. See if you can keep your foot and your knee of your standing leg pointing in front of you. Now, they may need to be more like an 11 or a 10 o'clock, depending on how tight your standing inner thigh is. That can be a pretty tight spot. Wanting to take it further, bend your top knee, reach your ankle. Stay with it and breathe. You got it. 5 breaths. Press the knuckle of your big toe down. 4 more breaths. Find the fullest expression for you. You have 2 breaths to just enjoy the pose. Luxuriate, right, Philomena? Last breath, forward fold and hang. She loves that. The idea that you've been in a pose forever and you get to just enjoy it. I heard her say that. Indulge yourself. Come up to standing. Okay, tricky hand grip here. Take your right arm bone to the back of your body and roll your forearm open so your palm faces out. Bend your right knee. See if you can hold your ankle from the inside. It's a little too far for you, just hold it from the outside. What we don't want is to roll the shoulder forward and hold it from the inside. Then lift your left arm in the air and see if you can stretch from the floor to the ceiling. Active feet and fingers, and then start to reach. You can kick back into your hand, reach forward to the front of the space. Get the maximum forward and back stretch you can. If you've got the maximum there, go for more up and down. Breathe. Physically, you got it. Take yourself to the edge of the pose, not the cautious spot that you could hold forever, the edge, and keep reaching. Where if you were to give up the reach, Caitlin, that's what's going there. Reach and kick. Step out, feet on the floor. Now pause for a second, 2 feet on the floor and just feel how it is in your body. Left arm bone goes back, roll your forearm open, palm facing out. Bend your knee, hold your ankle from the inside. If you flex your foot, you'll get a little bit of a better grip. Right arm in the air and stretch. Now, I ask you to keep your knees together and go straight back because if it goes outside, you'll miss your whole hip flexor area. Kick and stretch. We're looking for your quads, your hip flexors, abs on the left side, all to stretch. You'll be stretching even your lung. Now figure out what the edge of the pose is for you. So if you imagine that you're inside of a circle, you have to reach to the edge of the circle and kick to the back of the circle. Reach to the bottom of the circle and to the top of the circle, all the way to the edge. Stay right there at the edge and breathe and see whatever there is to see here. You got one more breath. Step out, 2 feet on the floor. Maybe it's hands on your hips. Maybe it's palms pressed together. But give yourself 2 feet on the floor, your eyes on one spot, and breathe and settle everything down inside with your breathing. You might even want to take a deep breath in and have a sigh. Let's take a second set. Right arm bone back, open your forearm, hold your ankle from the inside, left arm in the air. Kick and stretch. Kick so much back that you feel your whole arm being dragged behind, that your whole right back body is being pulled open. Reach until your elbow is straight, your wrist is straight, and all of your fingertips are, because you're taking up the most space you can take up. Keep your breath flowing. Feel what it is in the pose right now to take a deep breath and smooth and steady exhale. All right, come on out. Switch sides. You have the second set on the left side, arm bone back, forearm open. Hold your ankle from the inside. Kick and reach. You got it. So you might even imagine you're just hugging a center line here with your whole form. Just keep pressing, Laura. Yeah. And then imagine in the back, you've got the same thing for your inside knee. That you got it for your standing inside knee. Yeah, you're getting it. Finding the center line, like where it all of a sudden it's easy to balance, but it's like the whole, your nervous system lights up, right? Good work. Step out, 2 feet on the floor. Maybe hands over your heart. Sometimes you just want to soften your knees and put your hands on your thighs. That's fine too. Resettle your system. You hear people all the time talk about get grounded. Well, you're actually physically doing those concrete steps to be grounded right now. We'll finish these balancing poses with tree pose. Stand on your left foot with your heel behind your middle toe. If they were on a line, you'd see that they're on that line. Sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh or inner shin. Not just the side of your knee though. And then hug, leg into foot, foot into leg. And press your palms together. All of these arm movements, sometimes the teachers just say pick one. They all do something. So press your hands together to create grounding. Create prayer hands behind your back or interlaced hands overhead to stretch your outside wrist and forearm. Or just reach to get so much length in the whole side of your body. Switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. It's not usually one that I always choose to take, but there's also the opportunity, and you can try it with either side of your body. With this side, I've reached my bottom hand down to just give me anchoring and stretch this side. Or I'd palm on the inside of my thigh and stretch the other side. See what you can find for yourself. And step out of it. Step to the front of your mat. At the front, inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift halfway, drop into your low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot to the inside of your right hand, back foot flat for triangle pose. Keep your breath flowing. So triangle pose is 2 straightish legs. Front leg and knee, they should all point forward. Back foot could be angled in, block behind your front ankle, and that's where your hand goes. Double check your back foot. So anchor your big toe into the mat, pick up your heel and swing it back. You got it. Now, you should feel your whole inseam of your front leg stretching. You feel that, Tyler? Oh, yeah. Take your feet wider if you feel like you can take on a bigger base in the pose. There's almost no limit there. And then you could work with your pelvis. How would you do that? By drawing the pit of your belly into your body and up to your chin. That's it. In the pose, take a deep breath in. Have a sigh. Come on up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat, hands on your hips. Feet parallel to the short sides of your mat. Then lift up high and forward fold all the way down. Now, once you get folded, walk your hands in front of you so just your fingertips are touching. Stretch them as far as they'll go. Then breathe in. And as you exhale, sink your weight back into your heels and drop your head to the floor. You should feel a stretching, a tension from your fingertips on the ground. Take them even more forward if need be. As you breathe, you'll feel every one of your ribs just stretching open. Yes, there's also something stretching at the inner thighs and some other areas of the body. But as you're stretched out like this and bring your attention into your back ribs, you can breathe in and fill up and create mobility in the space of your back bottom ribs. It is an area that would move around as you take really deep breaths. So as you just stretch here and breathe, you are enhancing your lung capacity because there's more mobility. Walk your hands back to the center and come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Standing, single leg forward fold. Feet like they're both in skis, so not like they're on a balance beam, but they have width. And there needs to be some length. The default is to make this really short, but we want to have some length so that you, when you press your front big toe down, maybe you need to soften your front knee. Hands to your hips. Turn your hips square to the front short end of your mat. Lift up tall and start to fold. You might need to really bend your front knee. You may only get to the point of a flat back, and then you want to rest your hands on a tall block. Keep your big toe pressing down and see if you can keep folding your belly down your front thigh. From here, you can walk your hands more forward and drop your head. Maybe it works nicely for you to walk them more back and drop your head. 2 different poses with 2 good results. Taking the split on the floor is a variation. Breathe. Here, have a second one, Tyler. Wherever you are in this pose, lift all 10 of your toes in the air and spread your 10 toes. And you get, when your toes are spread, very acquainted with the knuckle of your big toe, the mound of it pressing down into the mat. Then you can just let your feet softly drop your toes and stay powerful in your feet. So now you have your legs and your hips. Keep those as they are. Left hand can stay on the block or floor. Keep your legs as they are. Twisting triangle. So I just want to stretch my whole torso long and start to turn my attention to the right. Breathe. If you find that you have to round and cave your chest forward, you keep focused on pulling your right hip back. That's it, Marianne. And opening your chest. You got it. See if you can keep your back leg straight. Breathe. Whole body long, especially your back left, and twist. Hands to the floor, take downward facing dog. Stretch out. Feel how it is in your body. You've done a lot of stretch on one side and you're anticipating it on the other side. Feel how it is in your body. Now step your left foot forward to the inside of your left hand. Triangle pose on this side. Keep your breath flowing as you build it. Yes, there'll be a quality of your feet like they're sinking down. Imagine how it is when you're standing by the side of the ocean and the waves are coming in, how your feet sink down into the sand. Let your feet have that same sinking feeling, especially the knuckle of your big toe in the front. As your feet have the sinking down quality, also imagine they have kind of a hugging in toward the arch side of your leg quality. That's your foundation. Now your foundation also includes the pit of your belly hugging into your body and drawing up to your chin. So if you unlock this a little bit, Holly, yep, and this will deepen. Yep, your pelvis will stay with your spine. So there's actually a quality of it. Opposites, feel that weirdness. And then this will sink, yep. Another breath, more pit of the belly in, and then the pelvis gets neutral. Feel that difference? Kind of. Me too. Same. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Take your arms around behind you and interlace your hands. Now, if that feels like you got handcuffs on, like it's tight and you have to round down, pick up your strap and set it up with a bind where your hands are wide. So no sense of like getting tossed into the squad car with your handcuffs on. That's what it looks like when you're like this. And lift up instead and fold. Check your feet out. Keep them parallel to the sides of your mat and breathe. You got it. So we'll go back in our imagination to the beach, to your feet sinking down into the sand. If it's a handstand, your hands sinking down, and then hugging in, scooping inward to your center line. Breathe there. Bring the breath into the space. Fill the breath up. so that we can hear people at home. At home, they can hear us in the room. Feels like you've cut off the flow and you're just hanging. Everyone, a little softness to the back of your knees, like a micro bend. In the pose, take a breath in, have a sigh, and come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat, standing single leg forward fold. Left leg is the forward leg now. Lift your chest up high and start to fold. I would say pick your 10 toes up and keep them in the air while you're discovering the fold, and then hands to the ground. There should be a lot of stretching in the back of your front leg. Soften your knee a little bit, micro bend. Yes. Back of your front leg. You got it. Keep breathing and stretching. That's it, Erin. Little softness to the knee. You can bring your hands to the block. Don't worry about it trembling. Don't worry about bending your knee. When you bring a whole new energy into your leg muscles and your body, your big muscles, they'll start to tremble. As we start to take really strong primary muscles and ask for some of the more secondary muscles to take on power, especially the core, the outer muscles are going to be really unsure of letting go of their job to give some strength to the inner thigh muscles, the core muscles. Twisting triangles next, right hand on the block or floor. Twist to the left. If you can, imagine that someone has an assist at your hips, just pulling them back at the hip creases. You're resisting by pulling your head to the front of your mat. So the whole of your torso gets so long. Yes. Breath long and twist. Breath long and twist. That's it, Holly. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Very good work. Stretch back. Come to a high plank from your down dog and lower down to your belly on the mat. Keep your toes set up the way they were for the push-up. So turned under. If my belly's on the mat like yours, I'm going to keep my toes turned under. Then with a strap or just your hands, interlace your hands at your lower back. Press your heels, hands, and tailbone back. For me, it looks like down. For you, it's back. And then stretch your chest long forward away from your heels and lift up a little bit, your head and your shoulders. Good. Keep dragging your heels back while your chest reaches forward. Keep breathing. We're looking for the quality of length from your outside ankle reaching back, up your side and into your armpit. Those 2 points, pull them apart. Feel it in your body before you leave the pose and come on down. You can shake your hips from side to side, and then we'll take a second set. Set your legs up again in the push-up position, toes turned under. You can just reach your arms out wide or interlace your hands. It's your choice for a second set. Body long. So if you feel the quality of your toes turning out, your knees bending, your butt cheeks squeezing, that's not quite it. We want length and a broad quality in the back of your pelvis. That'll give you the room for deeper back bends. When you want to take a big back bend, then you have to have steady feet. The back of your pelvis has to broaden, so there's room for your tailbone to descend while your chest lifts up. See if you can find that quality in your own body and come on down. Okay, next pose is floor bow. We'll do 2 sets, so you could take it one side at a time if you'd like. Knees don't get wide. They stay just hip width distance. Bend your knees, reach back and hold your ankles. See if you can get both ankles at the same time. If not, we'll do one side at a time. Then kick back and up if you have both ankles. If you're doing one side at a time, the side that stays on the floor, straight leg, toes turned under, arm in front, you'll just hold from the outside and kick. Good. When you're kicking, imagine the center of your heels, the mound of your big toes pressing up into the ceiling. Yep, so that becomes a foundation that you have in your imagination, your felt sense, like your feet are standing on the ceiling above you. Breathe. Stay in the pose for 5 breaths. Activate your feet, 4 breaths. You got it. 3 breaths. Press right here, Angela. 2 and 1. Come on down. Feet side to side. We're going to do a second round. Get set up. Second set. On your mark. Get set and go. If you could imagine that your knees, your inside knees were just hugging in. A little more hug, Marianne. Yes, a little more hug. I know it's so hard to find the inner thigh line. It's a challenging spot to find, but in time, just what maybe isn't something you've looked for before. Come on down, feet side to side. Okay, I'll give you a little variation on something today. We're going to take the upward facing dog, but you can leave your knees behind you, bend your knees, and you can point your feet. Then hands on the floor for your upward facing dog. Lift your chest up, keep lifting, lift up, and see if you can find the back of your head with your feet. Now, that's not going to be a lot of bodies, but just try. Chest up, look up and go back. Some of you, anybody, tap your head with your feet. Downward facing dog. Not today. Not today. Stretch back. Once you've gotten your downward facing dog stretch, jump through your hands and sit down and roll onto your back. We'll take bridge pose. So flat on your back. Once you're flat on your back, bend your knees so your ankles are under your knees. Feet hip width distance. Then press your feet into the mat and come on up. You're up meaning hips up toward the ceiling. So you're like a sliding board from your knees down to your shoulders. You got it. Lift your hips like all the way up to the level of your knees if you can. Yeah, if your feet are too forward of your knees, it's a little hard to hold this. Now here, just lift your 10 toes in the air and spread your 10 toes. Keep them up there like that for now. And in your imagination, like your feet are standing beside the water at the ocean, let your feet have a quality of sinking down into the sand. Then give your feet a quality of doing a little inward scoop towards your arches while they're in the sand. Like you can feel the sand against your arches. Come on down out of the pose. Knees side to side. Keep your breath flowing even here and set up the second bridge pose. Get your feet, lift your hips, come up into the bridge. You can set your gaze on one point on the ceiling and keep your breath steady. Then use your imagination to build the foundation of your pose with your feet. Don't move your feet. Keep the left one where it is. Hug your right knee into your chest and breathe. And with your knee hugging in, you can imagine the inner line of both shins hugging in. Squeeze, press against me. There you go. And that guy a little more. You got it. Breathe. One more breath. Put your foot down and come out of the pose, knees side to side. So that's kind of like amazing when you find the center line, right? When you find it and all of a sudden something changes in the pose, that's what we call vinyasa, like it's plugged in and it's flowing, you're tapped into energy different than just your own muscles. Let's try the other side. Feet hip width distance, let your feet sink down and come on up into the bridge. So feet like they're sinking down. Keep your right foot where it is, bring your left knee into your chest. Just your left knee try not to move the foot on the floor and hug. Hug, just hug against the center line. As best you can hug. Squeeze with this one. Squeeze. I know that's like harder than you think. Foot on the floor, come down. Good work. Knees side to side. Okay, you have your center line. It's tricky to find. Bridge pose. Press down, rise up. You can stay in the bridge and keep working your feet by the side of the ocean feet, or we'll go to wheel. Fingertips to the ceiling, flex your wrists, put your hands on the floor under your shoulders and wide. Should feel a little like uncomfortable at first, like crowded. Then press your arms straight. Just like your feet are by the ocean, so are your hands. Let the thumb side of your hand sink into the sand. Thumb side of your hand. And then hug into the thumb side of your hand. Come on down. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Knees side to side. We're going to do 2 more. So get ready. Set it up. Press down and rise up. All the way up. Now, if it feels crowded, the stronger you are, the more crowded this is going to feel. Set your hands wide. Yeah, wide hands. Tuck your chin and come on down. Don't get too comfortable. I see you like getting ready for a nap there. Let's do another one. Set it up. Put this on your mat, Tyler. To keep you from slipping. Usually most guys end up with this on their mat before the end of class. Go ahead. You even want to maybe get your feet on it. Press down and rise up. And then just sink the thumb side of your hand. Just sink it. And hug your forearms in. Yes, that's it, Themmy. You'll feel your back broaden. 2 more breaths. 2 more. And when you're finished, come on down. Knees side to side. Is that enough, wheel? All right, I had said 3 more. I'll stick with it. Soles of your feet together, knees open wide. Soles together, knees open wide. So we've been working on hugging into the center line, all the power that we're getting built up into the inner thigh. We let it stretch here. The inner thigh is like the basement of your core strength, and it's a tough spot because our quads and our glutes, they just do so much work to balance out and ask for some power from here. It's just something a little different. It takes an effort of training. Okay, hug your knees into your chest. And then put your feet on the floor, pick your hips up and move them longer, your lower back longer until your hips reach more to your heels. You can feel your whole flat back on the ground. When you have your entire flat back on the ground, curl up. You can bend your knees and bring them up to tabletop height. So all of your flat back on the ground, take a breath in and blow out through your mouth and sink your belly more. Then this will just depend. What we don't want to have happen is when we tap our heels, our back arches, and then we sink it down. We want to keep the lower back anchored. So you may be only lowering a little and bringing it back up. Otherwise, you're tapping, blowing out to bring it up. When you blow out, it taps into deeper core strength. So either tapping your heels and coming up or just opening and closing a little bit. So open and exhale. Open, exhale to close. Do that 10 times. You can do 1 foot at a time. Pay attention to your lower back the whole time you're doing this. You want to keep the pit of your belly sinking, your lower back on the mat, and use your very deepest core strength to stabilize you. Finish up and hug your knees into your chest. Let go. We have some success there, keeping your back on the mat. Typically, like when we were doing sit-ups in gym class growing up, there's a whole lot of activity, arching the back and flinging the head. We're not doing that part right now. Let's do another round, something a little different. 2 legs up in the air, curl up. You can just peek through your legs, keep your feet active like they're standing on the ceiling, and reach to the bottom of your mat. Breathe in. As you blow out, you'll reach further. Breathe in, blow out, reach further. It's just a tiny movement. You keep your lower back on the ground the whole time. 10 of those. You can soften your knees. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Doesn't have to be big movement. 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch out long on your mat and feel how it is in your core. You know, your deepest muscles in your abdomen, they work kind of like a corset. We're working deep down to those muscles. Okay, last one, knees into your chest. Legs straight up in the air, flex your feet so they look like they're standing on the ceiling. Then lower your right leg and hug. So you can even put your palm against your inner thigh and feel what it is to hug, like you're hugging your center line. Now, if your lower back arches, especially on the right side, soften your knee and rest your heel on the ground. And we'll be pulsing here again. Either leg hovering, maybe it's high, maybe the knee is bent, but both sides of your lower back on the ground, pulse 10 times. As you're doing the pulsing, how is it in your right lower back? Are you able to keep it anchored? Finish up. It's harder than it sounds. Finish your last ones, lie down and hug your knees. We're going to do the last side. So start with your 2 legs in the air. Flex your feet like they're standing on the ceiling. Lower your left leg down and see how it is in your body. So one side's holding up, one side's long and holding. Curl, really curl and reach. See what you might need to adjust for yourself, and then you pulse 10 times like you're hugging into the center line. No arching in your lower back. It just gets deeper with every exhale. Every time you pulse, blow out. You might even make it more vocal breath, going Finish when you get to the 10 and hug your knees into your chest. So good, isn't it? In yoga, when you feel that burning in your muscles, we call it tapas or heat. It's not just that the room is hot to make you sweaty. It's that you're getting deep into your body and bringing in new energy. Rock head to tail several times and move them through to downward facing dog. Now keep your breath steady and work with where you're setting your gaze as you set up this next pose, pigeon pose. So from the downward facing dog, right knee to your right hand on the floor. Thigh parallel to the side of your mat. Instead of sitting to the side, from the bird's eye view, keep the 2 sides of your pelvis level. Tuck a block under your hip. Then to intensify the pose more, that's the degree to which your shin is parallel to the short front side of your mat. When you get all of that, you can fold forward. A block under the hip is good for a lot of bodies. Yeah, sit on that under your hip if you can too, Tyler. Put this over here. Give you this to sit on. Now see how it is in your body. Maybe you found a comfort zone spot where you can kind of just sit there and then you can start letting your mind wander. If your body position isn't drawing your attention, then you're way too much in the comfort zone, like nothing happening comfort zone. So you might want to square your shin more to the front of your mat. That might help you to have a positioning in your body where your hip is saying like, right here, I'll help you. Right here is what's actually happening. I'll help you to be present and just be with it. And then you work with your breath. Still looking for steady breath with 4 parts to it. An inhale, a pause, an exhale, and a pause. Still looking for the quality to have about 3 or 4 counts on the inhale and on the exhale. That the breath is just as rich and robust on the 4th count as it was on the 1st count. See if you can still create that in your body right here. And then switch sides. With your eyes on one spot and your breath steady as you make the transition, switch sides. Listen for your own breathing. Listen for the breath of the group. Open up the quality of your felt sense. It requires imagination and deep listening. See if you can have a sense of being aware of people practicing from home or from home here in the room. Anytime you feel yourself become distracted, unaware of your body and your breath, take a sigh and just let there be a clearing. Thoughts come up, sensations come up. It's not something to suppress, but it's something to be able to let pass so that what you get is a continued and a deepened sense of coming in to be able to then come out. What does that mean? To have a really great connection to self, what's actually happening right here and now, to be able to just be, and inside of being, be aware of so much more. Yoga teaches us that. It lets us practice it. It doesn't mean it's the right way to be all of the time, but it's not a way that we necessarily have easy access to. And for us in that space of being, we have a lot of power. Sit on your left hip. Swing your right leg around for double pigeon. Now, this one's going to take a lot of deep inner listening because it varies on every body. Being able to sit with your hips a bit elevated is helpful for a lot of people. So your legs stack up at the shins. Ankles hang off the side of the thigh. And already that's a little further than most bodies want to be. You could be sitting upright and taking this pose. We want to be able to feel. Can you feel the 2 bony bottoms of your pelvis, your sitting bones? Can you feel them touching the ground? If you're tight in this pose, you won't feel them. You'll be sitting back on the muscles, the soft tissue of the back of your hips. Maybe you want to put your hips up on a block. If you have a knee hanging in the air, support the knee maybe. You might want to put your hands on the floor behind you to help you lift up and sit up tall. Let's do a block under your hips. Try this. Press into the ground, lift your hips up, and slide the block right under. There you go. Yes. Then you get more access to this. There you go. Flexed feet. If the opportunity is there to fold forward, take that opportunity. You might reach forward if you're feeling like you can get deeper and deeper into this position. Wherever it is, whatever your expression in the pose, so it's not that some people are better at the pose, it's just that different bodies require a little something different to feel the why of the pose. Right now, we have this chance to open the back of the pelvis wide and tall. That's pretty tricky. Switch sides. So now put your right leg on the bottom and put your left leg on top. Let your thigh bones roll out at the pelvis. There shouldn't be any twinging in your knees when we're doing these poses for your hips and lower back. We want to make sure that as we set it up with flexed feet, the knees never get put into distress. So like we wouldn't push down on the top knee. You could push down on the thigh bone near the hip. Good, and really flex your feet. Yes, do you feel it differently? Mm-hmm. You're just looking for a lot of length up out of the low back. Take a moment for deep inner listening. Feel how it is in your own body. How is it affecting your breath? What would it take to still have a rich, full breath? To be able to maintain a steadiness on your exhale. Okay, come on out of this. We'll take seated single leg extension. Stretch your right leg long. You could still be elevated sitting on a block. Left leg bent, sole of your foot to your inner thigh. Knee and toes face the ceiling. This knee, if it's hanging in the air, put a block under it. Then face your long leg. Fingers on the ground so you can sit up tall. From here, maybe you can hinge and fold forward. Lifted hips is helpful. Softness under the knee is helpful. Then opposite hand. Left hand to hold the calf or the baby toe side of your foot, or hold onto a strap that's lassoing your foot. And then for everyone, fold. Bring your chest toward your toes. You want to flex your foot so your toes are pointing straight up. Yes, that's it. Put the block under your knee. Mm-hmm. And just let the outside of your ankle fold. Yes, feel the hamstrings differently? Oh, yeah. Ready for the other side? Switch sides. So long left leg, bend your right leg, sole the foot to your left inner thigh, turn to face the long leg and sit up tall and hinge. Hinging is from your sitting bones through to the crown of your head. Different from rounding, which is one of your vertebrae, curving. We want to be long, the whole thing long. Then reach for the outer edge of your foot and let your outside ankle soften. You knew that was the way, Greg. I like to wrap my extra hand around behind my back. It gives me more stretch in my right lower back, and I like that in this pose. How is it in your body? What do you like in this pose for you? In the pose, take a deep breath in. Have a sigh. Then come on out. 2 legs in front of you. If you're lucky enough to have 2 blocks, maybe you put one under each knee. Feet facing up to the ceiling, like their hands on a clock facing 12 o'clock. Hold the outer edges of your feet, or if you have a strap, put it around the ball of your foot, not the arch. And once it's around the ball of your feet, wrap one more time around each individual foot. And then it's sort of like you're driving a chariot here. Hinge, maybe soft knees, long spine. So you'll just use the muscles of your upper back to draw your arm bones back, the outer edges of your feet back. Yeah, broad across your chest. So you just keep working for a lift out of your hips and a length. And then when you get all this length, we've done this now a lot of times in the practice today, breathe into and expand your back lower rib cage. Might be a little trickier here, but just see what you can discover for yourself. Sit tall and you're just hinging. Then here's the indulgence. Drop your chin to your chest. Let your body get round so you're in a seated ragdoll, and breathe here because this will feel good too. While you're here, take a breath in and have a sigh. Reverse plank or tabletop. If you've got a block, hug it between your ankles or the arches of your feet. So take your block long and hug it between the arches of your feet. Then lean back, fingers point toward your feet. This will be the awkward way. Roll your shoulders back, press your hands down into the ground, lift up and hug. With your arches, hug the block, those short ends of the block. You could bend your knees and take it as a tabletop, but if you have access to the plank, take the plank. It's a little bit awkward. Let your hands sink down into the sand and hug them in toward the thumb side of the hand. And as you do that, let your chest pass through your arm bones up to the ceiling. Take another breath. Sit down fish pose. Fish pose done a couple ways. We're not staying long, so I would suggest this way. Hands like a C, braced on the outer sides of your pelvis. Let your whole forearm rest on the mat. Active legs, so just press your hips away from you and press your heels away from you so that you stretch your whole side body long. Now sink your elbows down into the sand and hug them in. And keep opening up your chest and drop your head back. This is the last back bend of the practice. We are looking for a lot of length, a lot of freedom and support in the back while the chest, the front of your body, opens with your breath. Take full breaths, 4 full counts to inhale and hold it. And steady, 4 steady counts to exhale and hold that. Then if you're on the block, just roll to your side. Otherwise, chin to your chest and get onto your long flat back from wherever you are. All the way onto your flat back. Probably already here starting to get some information about what you've done for your body. Plow pose is next. So a choice. It could be flat on your back, block long under your pelvis, legs straight up in the air. That's waterfall. Or roll your feet overhead to plow pose. So some bodies, it's not time to go into plow pose. For others, it feels good. Be aware of your own neck in taking plow. The block, this could be a great spot for today. Take the block right there. Oh, yeah, you can rest right there. And let your hamstrings in the back of your pelvis just get used to this first. And it'll be legs straight up in the air. Yeah. Does the block feel too in your back? Okay. And then flex your feet and just let the weight of your feet sink. Take a deep breath and a sigh. Like as your legs sink down into the back of your pelvis and waterfall, maybe you have a little bit of tightness in your lower back. It'll broaden and soften in time. Whichever pose you're in, just steady breathing. Sometime when you're practicing at home, you have the advantage of a lot of wall space or a bed behind your back that lets you try things that maybe you're not so comfortable with here on the floor in the yoga room. Whichever pose you've selected, you've probably completed the moving around and getting situated. Set your gaze on one still point in the room. Bring your steady breathing to this pose. If there's any part of you that's tolerating the pose, what could you do to make that easier? Perhaps in the pose, you can take a breath and have a sigh. If you're in the shoulder stand, bring your feet to the floor behind you for plow pose, and then knees to hug beside your temples or ears. Reach for your feet if you're taking that pose, taking Deaf Man's pose. And in this breath, take a sigh. You're welcome. And then all of you roll out of the pose onto your flat back. Good. Once you're on your flat back, hug your knees into your chest. Drop your knees over to the left. Look and reach to the right. Now, you might need to scooch your hips out behind you so that fluid is sealing through your hips. You're stacked up. No need to force the turn to the left. Just set it up so it feels good. The block between your knees could be helpful here. When you get set up in this simple twist, take a breath in here and have a sigh. Switch to the other side. Your yoga practice is something you can do every single day. Because while it can be similar and seem like maybe how in a sport you do a drill to get better at a thing, it's different with your practice. Instead, this is a sense of more like teeth brushing. You do it every single day to see how it is and what's possible in that moment with your teeth. Same with your practice. What's possible breath by breath, pose by pose, and then you recreate your own health every single day through your practice. Come to the center, Supta Baddha Konasana. Put the soles of your feet together and open your knees wide. Now feel how it is in your body, meaning where are your shoulders? Is it crowded in your back? How is it in your lower back and your pelvis? For me, I usually have a lot of arching in my lower back. I have to move my hips down toward my heels a little more. See how it is for you. Try a sigh in this pose, and with the sigh, just let go of your bones. Let them settle into the floor. Now here in the studio, you have a cold eye towel near your head, right or left. You're welcome to place that over your eyes and forehead. I like it rolled up under my neck. You pick where you'd like to use it, if you'd like to use it. And then the next pose is called Shavasana. It's a pose for deep rest. So stretch your legs out long and wide, arms wide with your palms facing the ceiling. You have blocks nearby. Maybe those feel good under your knees if your lower back feels a little tight in this pose. But set it up so that it feels good for you. And then try this out. In this pose, take a deep breath in. Open your mouth. Now you've got your eyes closed. And you could let your Ujjayi breath soften into an everyday breath that's been trained by your practice. So maybe not a pause between the inhale and exhale anymore. Maybe the vocalization to the breath softens, the back of your throat softens. You let go and let yourself have a complete and deep rest from anything that tells you should be anywhere else or doing anything else. Let thoughts and emotions and sensations arise, be experienced, and pass. Allow yourself to be still and fully present right here. Every now and then, you may find yourself rearranging once more and sinking deeper, deeper into you, into this present moment. I'll read to you from the book Journey to the Heart while you rest. Chaco Canyon, New Mexico, touched me deeply and profoundly. It sang to my soul. I walked through the canyon, viewing the remnants of the Anasazi culture, touching, seeing, experiencing what was left of their sophisticated society, a civilization over 2,000 years old. I felt reverence and humility as I touched the stones of a culture that no longer existed. I could almost see the people who lived there, busy with their work, their relationships, their goals, their fears and hopes, just like us. I wondered if they knew that someday their society would be extinct, gone, vanished. I wondered if they knew how important they were, how each of us plays a tiny part in the eternal dance of the universe. It's so easy to become consumed by the details of our lives, to be impressed with the technology of our own society, to get lost in the busyness and business of our ways. But it's important to remember ancient cultures, other civilizations, other lives lived long ago, the lessons of our planet, the timeless lessons of love and life. I wept with wonder, awe, and joy at how important yet humble each of our lives is. My soul vibrated with the awareness of eternity, with the infinite rhythms of life. I lingered at Chaco Canyon, not wanting to leave. A still voice whispered to my soul, reminding me that I could return as often as I needed and wanted, because this place was now part of me and part of my heart. Allow your soul to awaken. Allow it to soar. Touch the timeless rhythms and cycles of life. Begin to deepen your breathing. Wiggle and squeeze your fingers and your toes. Just give your fingers a squeeze, your toes a squeeze, and then hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side. Bring yourself up into a sitting position. You can face any direction and sit any way, just as long as you feel comfortable and you're able to sit tall in your spine. So some of you, that means sitting on a block. When you're ready, inhale and sweep your arms overhead, stretch up. Then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. Now, with your eyes closed for a second, feel how it is in your own body right now, how it seems to you. And then from here, set an intention for the rest of your day. I am. Maybe it's I'm present, I'm patient, I'm willing. You choose. And then 3 more times we'll chant Om. We'll start together and then create a sea of 3 Oms. So when you're ready to start your second and third one, you just go ahead when you're ready. You don't have to wait for me. Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead and pause for a moment and offer yourself a few words of gratitude for taking care of yourself this morning. Offer your body words of gratitude for being the amazing machine that it is. And then offer everyone who practiced with you words of gratitude for helping you create your practice today. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Namaste. Good work. Thank you, Jennifer and Michelle, for joining us from home. Thank you all for being here. Please consider joining me December 1st through 4th at the Himalayan Institute. And remember, October 23rd starts our Bring a Friend Week called Move Free. Thank you for being here today. I'll be teaching again on Wednesday at 4 and at 5:45. Get signed up. If you are staying for our Perfect Sunday morning, taking the restorative program that starts in half an hour, just exit the room so we can clean it up, and then we'll come back in a few. All the towels go in the laundry basket by the front desk. And these, I gave this goes on the desk. The blocks that, yeah, spray them and they go on the rack, and the strap we even wash. Okay? How did you feel, Tyler? How did you feel? You did great.
Yeah, I felt like lost in the beginning.
And it takes time.
It's just like, thank God it kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So.
Everybody feels that way at first. Yeah. You'll get accustomed to that pretty quickly. It'll come.